What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Press X Podcast, episode 141, your weekly podcast for gaming news and opinions coming at you each and every Monday. I am Kevin McManus. With me, Nick Hassell.
I like being this far away from you when it's really hot.
I agree.
I want to
I want to be as far away from you as possible when it's really hot. Obviously, we're back in the podcast room. The reason that we moved kind of for the summer was it was super hot. We moved back up too early.
Podcast room, also known as hell.
Yeah.
To you religious types out there.
I always wanted, so this is a little behind the scenes knowledge. I always wanted to make an episode that was like a pop-up video. Do you remember the pop-up videos?
I do remember the pop-up videos.
Yeah, pop-up video. Anyway, I wanted to do one where we just have trivia kind of popping up as we go. Mm-hmm. And one of the trivia things was going to be, where do you think this podcast room is? Because I don't think anybody would guess it.
Oh, sure.
It's
and also maybe like a little widget thing that shows the current temperature in the room.
Yeah. Spoilers, there's no windows or anything in here, and it's awfully hot. But that's okay. We're gonna struggle through it. I do want to start out with a bit of maybe sad news, maybe happy news. I guess it's depending on your opinion on stuff. All good things come to an end, and so do all mediocre and not great things. And I think that's what we're talking about here today. Episode 150 is going to be the last episode of the Press X podcast. So that's about 10 episodes from now, 9 episodes from now. I think it was November 19th.
Something like that, yeah.
That's going to be the last episode of this episodic podcast that we've been putting together. And I'll talk more about that later on as we get closer and we figure out exactly what we're going to do. I talked about wanting a doomsday clock in the background for the end of the world.
You should have had that from the get-go.
I think that's a good idea. But we will be ending the kind of episodic podcast episode. So what's that mean for the channel? It just means that that particular piece of content is going to be going away. We will still be doing spoiler casts, probably more. We will be doing spoiler casts for games still, for movies still. We'll be doing Game of the Year talk and all that stuff. It's just the weekly news that is going to be going away. But I'd still love to do opinion pieces and stuff like that in podcast form.
Yeah, games aren't going anywhere, so there will be a lot of opinions about stuff, especially 2019 at least. So
yeah. Anyway, so with this ending, I would like, any sort of questions, comments, stuff like that to talk about for that episode. Any sort of opinions you might have on what we should do for the end of the podcast, let us know, because it could be a fun time. We can do something awesome.
Keep it family friendly, please.
I don't care. You don't have to. We'll sacrifice something on the show before it's over.
Person?
Probably.
Maybe Todd.
I vote Kellen.
2 sacrifices.
Let's move into what we've been playing, because I'm excited to talk about this.
Then talk about.
I want to talk about Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
So this is interesting because these Tomb Raider games, not you. It's like that meme where they have the 9 in the middle one's like, not you. These Tomb Raider games, not you, speak to me really loudly, and I don't know why.
I think I know why, but I'll get into it when it's my turn.
Is it the female main character?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that might help, but...
It does help. So I'm not... I mean, I love gameplay in games. It means, gameplay is kind of the most important things for a lot of things, and it's why I like the Mega Mans and the Marios. And these 8-bit games or games that only focus on that and don't actually have a story. Tomb Raider is one of the only games that isn't like that I really just love being in that world. I love exploring that world and finding the collectibles. It is... I think I get out of these games what people get out of Metal Gear Solid 5 and Final Fantasy 15 when they're just like
more
running,
like sandboxy.
Yeah, when they're just like running around these open worlds and they're like, oh, I found a cool thing. I hate that in like Final Fantasy. Like, I just want the story and I want these characters. And to me, Tomb Raider is one of the only game series where I'm like, oh, there's a monkey up there. Can I shoot that with my bow and arrow? Like, I like experimenting and exploring in this world.
I think you like, I don't know, a fitting kind of analogy, but whereas a sandbox is just completely open-ended and do what you want, I think you like it more self-contained.
Oh, for sure.
You like your space, but you want to be sectioned off, quartered off, and not have just like infinite. You just want to have like more of like a playground type thing, whereas everyone else is just like, give me the world.
That is true, except for Breath of the Wild, which I do really, really like, and I think the reason I like that is because their story was to save the world. Yeah, they were just like, go save the world when you have time.
That one as compared to these types of games, it's just like purely aesthetic is all that game is for the most part. So
and very physics. It very much wants you to experiment with physics, which is always kind of a fun thing to do.
Plus, you have to go hunt and find these dungeons, and that's really kind of what you're after if you're going to every like corner of the world sort of thing. So yeah, that probably helps.
But the way the game is structured, at least the two most recent Tomb Raiders, is they're Metroidvanias, technically. You're going along on your story, you get, a sharper knife so you can break through certain things. You get a pickaxe so that you can climb things. You get all these things. And I'm very early on in Shadow still. But one thing that I do like is you start with your abilities from Rise. You don't get like Laura doesn't get hit with a rock and go, oh, I forgot that I can shoot a rope and climb things. Like, they introduce you to your abilities that you had in Rise, that like by the end of Rise, and then they introduce some new abilities. So one thing that I actually really like that's really simple is most games, when you, like Uncharted and things, when you kind of get in grass, you get low, and it's kind of like your cover.
Yeah.
This game has the vines on the walls and stuff as well, so it just adds another layer to it, and I'm just like, I've never really seen a game where you can just walk up to the wall, and she actually looks like she blends into that wall, and like, I sort of believe that if somebody walked by, they wouldn't see her.
Yeah, well, especially with it being at night and under like cover of mud and stuff like that.
That's another thing. They love, like, the mud is dynamic, and they love their mud tech. They cover her in mud every second they get.
Because it feels like every level or chapter or whatever that I've started so far, she's been completely clean. All the pores have been cleansed.
Yep.
Like, she's got everything going for her, and then like the level starts off with her sliding down into mud.
Yeah,
like, why don't you just stay in mud?
She just loves it, and like she gets out of like there's one part where there's water everywhere, so she's completely clean from the water, and then the next thing that happens is you just see her plop into mud, and you're like, man, they just really wanted to push this mechanic, huh?
Yeah.
But
they really like that one scene from Predator, the original one, where he's in mud and camouflage, and they're like, you know what? Let's just carry this across the game.
I'm 90% sure there's a scene that is exactly that in the game. But anyway, I really like that they let you kind of carry everything over in the Metroidvania style for this game. With that said, some stuff that I want to talk about. So far, it's looking like I think this game's story is going to be better than Rise. Very early on, like I said, but they simplified it. They're like, there's a thing, you took the thing, and there's a problem that's caused because of it, go fix it. Yeah. That is a very simple, easy to explain, digestible story, whereas the story for that one went full Uncharted. They were like, oh, we're doing a thing, and then it's like, plot twist, now the game's different. And I'm like, I don't like that. And I don't know what this is about. So I like that this one kind of kept it, the keep it simple, stupid. It kept it simple, and I'm on board to follow that story as long as it stays that way.
Sure.
Side characters, can't name anybody in that game, can barely name anybody in that game. There's really only one major side character in this one, and he's done so well with acting. Yeah. Like, there's actually cutscenes that convey emotions and reasons to care about these characters, and I really like that. And some complaints that people have about the game is that Laura's not a likable character in this game at all.
I can subscribe to that, but that's where you have, I forget his name. He's the big like Haitian or kind of whatever. I don't know where he's from, like his character or anything, but he's the one with the cool little, not man bun, but little man ponytail thing going on. But yeah, he's sort of like your balance.
Yes.
He's more of like your conscience.
He's your logic
in
your situation. But like, I don't think you need a likable main character. I think it is interesting to have a non-likable main character. And that being said,
as long as
still
you have
like
that
Laura
balance somewhere. Like you can, especially if it's like a squad-based game, like any of the EAs or something like that, or even like Final Fantasy, as long as you have someone likable that kind of speaks to that voice inside you. Like, even if you are a dick and you're more like her, just like cold, ruthless at some points, like it's nice to have that other balance. And you have it.
In any medium, you need a relatable character that you can either project yourself onto, or they're asking the questions that you have. You need that relatable link, and he is definitely that. I so far like Laura. I'm into the cocky, overconfident girl. I'm fine with that as a main character for a game, and then seeing where that leads and what problems that cause. Gameplay wise, I do want to talk about. There's two modes for this, at least on the Pro. There is a graphics mode, and there is a performance mode.
Yeah, a lot of games are starting to do that.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think actually kind of did it the best. They had those modes, and I think they had a third mode as well, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they had those two modes, and you could pick between them. And I started on performance, which is the opposite of what I did for Shadow, because I wanted cinematic in Shadow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I understand that part.
Yeah. And I did performance, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And I was like, let me swap it. And I swapped it. That game, there is no way that's running at 30. It is definitely running lower than 30 when you put it onto the graphics mode.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're both called Shadow. It's a little confusing.
Yeah.
But I actually almost grabbed Shadow of the Colossus by accident when I was coming up here because they're both kind of like the same thickness in the box and everything.
You
I was
alphabetical
like,
order.
I know. I need to stop being so organized. But anyway, yeah, like that, it runs really, like, it feels like it's not running right. And it might just be because I started at 60 and then I'm dropping half the frames to get to 30, and maybe that's why I'm doing it. But then my other issue is when I have it at 60, her animations don't look right. So her animations look right at 30, but at 60 they look like they're being recorded too fast almost. Like they look jerky because they're going so quickly. I'm like, I don't know what one I like more.
I know on PC, it's kind of a moot point. Either like you have the hardware to do either or, so you don't really ever get the option. Do you want performance? It's just like, do you tone it down to the highest settings or lowest settings? And even with mine, you know, as far as like background on my system, I don't have any issues with any current game or game released in the past of playing it at the highest settings and, you know, not having an issue. But with this one, it feels like to me in the, I guess the loading points of each map, that's when I see it like jerk and stutter a lot. It's not, you know, transition from gameplay to cutscene or vice versa. It's always when I see the little logo at the bottom saying, hey, it's loading.
Like the autosave logo and stuff.
So it's got something to do with that, I think. But I'm sure they might release a patch or something like that. But I'm noticing similar types of issues where I'm just like, yeah, I mean, the gameplay is 60 frames, but I don't know, maybe I just need to tweak the settings. But it's not looking like it's top tier compared to like God of War on PS4
not at all.
And compared to some of the more
this
recent
is
games on PC.
What I'm getting at for it. I think this game feels rushed to me. Like I'm enjoying the heck out of it as a video game.
Yeah.
But it feels rushed in that I feel like they use similar to, you could see it in Horizon is kind of the thing that I'll compare it to. Aloy was like clearly handcrafted and hand animated, and she looks so good. And then you interact with some of these other characters and they look like a little wonky. Their lip sync is clearly like just automated to sounds, like it's off.
Yeah.
That's how I feel Laura is. It seems like they used a procedural like animation tool for her, and a lot of her stuff just doesn't flow into each other correctly, and it throws me off. And like I'm saying, I'm playing this game straight as a video game, which is not something I do very often for like these 3D story games, and that's why this series is like special to me, because it's one of the only series I forgive for stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is sweet. I don't play it cinematic. Like I play Uncharted like I'm watching a movie. Like I try to be all cinematic and cool about stuff. In this game, I'm like, whatever. I'm just having fun. I'm picking these berries. I'm doing these things. But yeah, like when she swaps weapons, it's awkward. There's a lot of awkwardness to her movement. And speaking of awkward, that was a selling point for Laura. In this game, they were like, she's an awkward character. And I was like, that's a weird thing to want to put on the box. And
yeah, it makes sense for like the Persona type games that we play, where it's like high school type.
But I liked it. There's a part very early on when you're in a crowd and you're going through these people, and she's just like, man, I hate being in crowds. And I'm like, man, me too, Laura. I like that. Some other things that I want to talk about the game. I think it's really cool, just the amount of options that they give with the settings and the brightness and the gamma and all the stuff. But they also give you puzzle difficulty settings, exploration difficulty settings, which I think is really cool, and just combat, which is nice because Silent Hill does that too. And you can turn Silent Hill's puzzles from like stuff you can figure out in game to hard, which is stuff you need like knowledge of the real world to solve. So my example always is there is a puzzle where you can like find these books and arrange them, and there's numbers on them and they tell you what to do, and you type it in and you leave. Or if you put it on hard, instead of telling you what the order of the books go, they give you a summary of each book, and they're Shakespeare books, and you need to actually know the plot of the Shakespeare books to be able to put them in order. So, like, it makes the puzzles way more in-depth, and I love that in this game you can do that. And currently I have everything on normal. I'm feeling like I might drop the combat to easy. I'm feeling like I might bring the exploration up. I'm feeling like I might bring the puzzles up. But I think that it's really cool that they just allow you to kind of craft your own adventure in this game.
That and Spider-Man, obviously two very recent releases, both have really awesome options.
Oh, yeah, Spider-Man has this too? Like cool options?
Yeah, Spider-Man, I mean, on top of all the subtitle type stuff, if you want to hide this, if you want to spill water everywhere, like I just did, we'll get someone to clean that up.
Yeah, one of our many employees, come here and clean this up.
Speaking of awkward. But yeah, like on top of all the normal type of options, there's stuff that you can like handcraft. And if you just don't like puzzles like this game, or if you don't like the combat, you can just tweak it and make it your own like custom difficulty. And that's more of a PC type of thing, but now it's bleeding over into games, and I'm glad.
I am super glad. I think that is awesome. Like the fact that my least favorite part of the game is the combat. I don't like when there's just waves of enemies. Yeah. Like Uncharted, I always play on easy. I consider dropping it to casual, except for it blocks trophies when you drop it on casual, so I don't do that. But like the first thing I did, I loaded up the game. I saw the difficulty things. I went into the setting or to the trophies, and I said, what are the trophies for this game? And it says, beat it on normal, beat it on easy, beat it on hard. And I go, I'm not beating this game on hard. I'll make my own difficulty. Yeah. And I've been kind of adjusting it and
it's
figuring
cool too,
out how I want to feel.
Because it doesn't say like custom when you change it. Like it depends. Like if you make this thing hard, like it's kind of like a seesaw, I guess, type of thing, where if you bump it up here but lower it here, it stays normal or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
With the jungle or something.
Yeah, I don't know why. Their names are stupid. Yeah. But anyway, I really, really love that about the game. As far as actual like gameplay and stuff goes, it feels like Rise of the Tomb Raider. It feels like more Tomb Raider. It definitely does feel a little bit Russian, unpolished to me. I would be able to figure out that this was made by a different studio if you didn't tell me that. Laura has this weird like floatiness to her with some things that she does. She kind of slides places, but at the same time, like, I'm super satisfied by the stealth and stuff in the game. Using a bow and arrow and just shooting somebody in the head and then, like throwing a bottle to distract somebody. There's little things that the game does that I really like when you go just like different subtitles or different colors for different people, which I really liked.
You can make it so people speak in their natural language.
Yeah,
too. That's pretty cool.
I really like that when you use your like instincts mode, which is the same thing like detective mode in Batman or listening mode in The Last of Us.
Ping the area.
Yeah,
make the
when you use that,
stuff glow.
It shows enemies in red that are alerted to each other, which is really cool. So
visible to each other.
Yeah, so you know that you need to pull them apart before you can actually assassinate them if you want to be stealthy. I'm like, there's just these little things in the game that I'm like, this is such a cool idea that makes me want to play stealthy.
Even to compare that with Spider-Man, it's also got a thing like when you ping the area and kind of see like the status of stuff or interactable things, it'll say danger or safe, and that's all dependent on if this guy's got a clear like line of sight to the next. So
yeah, I really like that. I do want to talk about how dark the game is so far. It reminds me, so the way I was describing it to somebody else is Uncharted is Marvel and Tomb Raider is DC. Like, they have a lot of like shock value stuff in here that like, I just can't. The first scene of this game is Laura slicing open her leg so she can get out of a jam, if you will.
And that's right after like 10 curse words.
Yeah, and like so I'm not a squeamish person or anything. I love that stuff. I love gore. Like I love horror movies. I love all that stuff. When she stabbed herself, I was like, ugh.
Plus you get like
I went, ugh, which is not characteristic of me. Yeah. And I think that that's good. But like it clearly, like they are showing people die just straight up. They showed one thing that I don't want to spoil because I think it's, not a plot point, but it's something that's going to affect Laura later on in the story, I'm sure. But like they just show it and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that they actually did that. So like there's it's clearly rated M, like very strongly, and
very M,
and like it makes you not want to die because when Laura dies, you feel so bad.
It's always funny to me.
Oh, really?
It helps because I'm pissed that I have to redo the section, but it's funny in the fact that it's just like an abysmal death.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like
it's not just like, it's just... you just kind of have to die a lot.
You trip a wire and she just gets impaled through the throat.
Yeah.
And she goes... And she's like gasping for air, and they show it all.
Like 1 spear, 2 spears, maybe even 3. This is like 30.
Yeah, they just go right through her. And I'm just like, that felt bad, and I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And like, I legitimately feel bad when I miss jumps or I miss QuickTime events because I'm scared that I'm gonna have to see her die in these horrific ways. And I think that's an interesting way to make a game. And I don't think that would work. I don't think it would work as well, weirdly, like if it was a dude and that happened to. I think it's this weird like thing that they have where they just brutally murder this girl. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that at all.
Yeah, that helps me get over the frustration of missing jumps and whatnot.
Yeah, fuck you, Laura. Why'd you miss that jump? But yeah, once again, I'm still very early on. It seems like they got rid of something that I really liked in Rise, which was when you did kind of side quests in Rise, you got abilities you didn't know that you wanted. So like, for instance, I did a side quest in Rise, which once again, uncharacteristic of me. I love doing side quests in that. But the reason I liked doing them is, one, they weren't down your throat. They weren't like, hey, over here, there's a side quest. Yeah. Come do it. Hey, what are you doing, miss? You know, like I just stumbled into something and I was like, oh, this seems cool. What's down here? And it would put me on this journey. But then when I finished it, they were like, and now you can see the heartbeat of animals so you can kill them in one shot. And I'm like, oh,
like
that's
extra damage when you shoot them in the heart.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's really neat. That's something I didn't know that I wanted, but adds to the game. And in this game, not sure yet because I'm not super far in, but it seems like they put all that stuff onto skill trees, which I'm not as crazy about. The skill tree is broken up into like hunting, stealth, and like combat or something. I forget what it's broken up into.
It's one of those two where like this one's grayed out and to unlock this one, and then this one has to unlock that. Like,
and this one costs 2, and this one costs 3.
It's very like a defined pattern that you have to go to, even though it's like under the guise of you have options.
You do have options how you want to play, but it's not as for like you can't just be like, I want to do these hunting things and these gathering things. Like you need to build up your gathering and build up your hunting if you want all of those. So like eventually I feel like everybody's going to kind of be the same, which was something I really liked about Rise, is that I felt like my Laura had abilities that other people didn't have and was missing abilities that other people had, and I kind of liked that for the game. But anyway, like I said, I'm not very far into it. It plays a lot like Rise. It's a little bit buttery with how she controls and everything. I'm interested in the story. Where it leads, I have no clue. Not very deep in. But it is more Tomb Raider, and I'm totally down with that because there's something about this game. I start playing it, and I don't want to shut it off. And I'm not doing anything interesting. Like, they give you all these little quests. Like, I climbed a tree and picked some berries. And it's like, if you pick 5 berries out of trees, we'll give you some experience so you can unlock something. And I was like, all right. So I started climbing trees and picking berries. Like, there's just some hook in these games that I can't describe that gets me. So anyway, I really, really like it.
Yeah, I'm just as far in, maybe a little further. I don't know. I started it today and just did kind of like a short little marathon of it. For me, it's the butteriness and all that really gets on my nerves every now and then. But like I said, a good visceral death can put a pep back in my step, I guess. I do like the stealth mechanics, but my problem with it is it's so much more preferable to gun combat to me that I'm just like, if I get in a situation where I screw up and it's like, she's over there, like, I just want to restart. I want to go back to the checkpoint.
I don't disagree.
Because like I said, the predator aspect of it, where you're covered in mud, it's at night, keeping like your body temperature down, and all that type stuff, and creeping through. And like the shrubbery on the walls and the corners and stuff is really cool, because not only do you normally hide around corners when you're like peeking around and such, but it's cool to like grab a guy, shank him, pick his pockets, and then like keep going type of thing. So stealth's good. It's just the only problem with it is that it's too good versus the combat.
It's just way more satisfying.
Yeah.
Than
so
the
this game
gunplay.
So far is turning out like Uncharted. The Uncharted games are for me, and the fact that I don't like the minute-to-minute stuff. I like the story sort of checkpoints where it's just like this cool action scene happened, and okay, now I got to walk around and shoot people. But then I found the thing, and I get to see it unfold, and
that's so
I get to go collect the thing. Like, it's cool rummaging around like the tombs and stuff like that. I do like the collecting aspect. It's the fighting that I don't, unless it's the bow. I really like the bow.
The bow feels
headshotting
so
people feels
super
fantastic.
satisfying.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm kind of the opposite. So to me, in this one, the story is at least interesting, and it's not really the story, it's just the character dynamics that are more interesting, which is something Uncharted's always destroyed these games in. But when this game is trying to do like the set pieces and the Uncharted stuff, I'm just like, oh, it's garbage Uncharted. Yeah. Cool. Like, it's just not as good. But when it does its own thing, which is the scavenging and the hunting, making your own outfits. Yeah. Interesting. You didn't play the other ones, or did you play the other ones at all?
What, Tomb Raiders?
Rise and regular. Do you have? Did you play them all on PC? I don't know how this works for
that one. Yeah, for sure.
When you go to your camp for the first time in this one, you have everything you unlocked in Rise.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I have all my outfits, and like you can even change your Laura so she looks like Laura from the old ones. And I'm like, why does she look like a different character in every game that they've made? They literally rebuilt her every single time. But just stuff like that is really, really nice. I'm super disappointed that this game came out when it did. I think that it would... Honestly, it can't come out in February and it can't come out in January, so they have to put it out. And they couldn't push it earlier because it clearly already has some things that could have been tweaked to make it better. But, like, it sucks that every time they put out one of these games, it feels like it was put out as an underdog title when it is such a major name and release, and like I think they are all good games. It just sucks that they're kind of like sandwiched between these huge things that hurts them. You know what I mean?
It's overshadowed, you're saying?
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, so on top of not liking gun or non-stealth combat, it's I feel like I can make the same jump 5 times, and 3 times out of the 5 she'll land.
Oh, I don't have that problem at all.
It's a little like too floaty for me.
She's definitely floaty, but I don't have that. I've never like missed a jump by accident. There was there was one jump where I was like, "There's no way I can make that," and I did my instincts, and the instinct thing was like, "You can make this," and I was like, "I'll trust you, game."
And then she sort of just
she did it
over.
Yeah, I was like, "That's not how you jump." Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying. This game is super video gamey, and I don't like video gamey unless it is these 8-bit style games. But Tomb Raider is one of the very few exceptions where I'm like, it gets a pass for me, and I don't know why. I just really enjoy it.
Those things aren't enough to dissuade me from stop playing or anything like that. I'm having fun with it. But yeah, it's weird because normally I like the combat portions. It's like, okay, get the story part of, like, get this narrative crap over so I can go back to shooting dudes or whatever, or picking stuff up. But now it's the opposite, where I'm just like, okay, that was awesome, that was a cool set piece, or that was a cool cinematic, or I'm feeling this like character stuff, interaction, or even walking through towns where, like you said, like I like it, sort of the aesthetic parts, and then it's just like, you know, deal with these 12 guys. I'm just like, can I hit skip?
Yeah, I want the skip. I do want to bring up is there anything else you want to say about Tomb Raider before?
No.
Okay. I do want to bring up
to say with 3 or 4 hours in.
Sure. The Catherine live stream went live for Catherine Full Body PS4, and there's actually a lot of relationship between Shadow of the Tomb Raider in that game, and I just want to bring it up. They have the ability to skip all the puzzles in the game if you don't want to do the puzzle stuff. They have a separate puzzle difficulty slider and stuff, just like we were talking about. And can I just say how awesome that is? Like, I really feel like, because video games are a super young medium when you compare it to books and, you know, movies and stuff. It's super, super young. And
I mean, the first generation of people that played video games are still very healthy and around.
Yes. And I think it's interesting because DVDs and things have like skip menus for like, oh, there's this one part in the game I really love. I just want to see that one part. And these remasters are coming out, which is kind of like the Blu-rays. And if there's a movie that I wanted and I only wanted to watch the one scene that I really love, I can buy the Blu-ray, watch that one scene, and move on with my life. Or the 4K. You know what I mean? Like,
or YouTube.
there's options there to do that stuff, and video games don't really give you options, I feel like. And I like that they're like, okay, you can skip the puzzles if you just want the story, or you can skip the story if you just want the puzzles. I like these options.
Well, I think that helps too.
Also, I love Catherine, and everybody should buy it.
Like this kind of like review era that we're in, where they matter probably a little bit more than they used to. Like, I don't think if someone really hated Mario Kart 64 and put it in EGM, that like the sales would go down. People would just be like, "Ooh, throwing shells at each other seems fun," and they would just get it. But now that I think reviews are like more harshly looked at and maybe impact more, like sales,
absolutely,
and stuff like that, I think with the growing number of, man, I liked all these things, but this necessary part of the game I didn't like, but I'm forced to do it. So I think if you take those necessary things like puzzles and whatnot, and you can ramp them up for the people that say, this was too easy, this was brainless and dumb, I flew right through them, or for the people that are just like, I didn't know to hit X here.
Actual every video game critic, just drop it down to easy, guys. You're good.
It's nice to have that type of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Especially with systems that are like interdependent of each other too. So if you could get that in like JRPGs where it's just like grinding easy and
please.
Like turn XP to where you get like times 10 or something, just so I don't have to go kill 100.
Yeah, it's like Final Fantasy 7 and like 9 or whatever. When they put out the remakes, they're just like infinite power mode. I'm like, okay, I'm down with that.
Yeah, or even Zodiac Age, where it's just like, you want to run 3 times as fast? Go.
Yeah, that
like
stuff
just
is
little
really
stuff
really
like
nice.
that.
It just sucks that it seems like it's always on re-releases. It's nice that we're starting to see it on new games.
Yeah.
Because who cares?
Back to back too. Like I said, with Spider-Man and this, they both have a lot of customization and options, which normally you just boot up a game, hit new game, and start. But it's nice to spend 5-10 minutes going, how do I want to play this game?
I'll finish up with my other what I've been playing. The Mega Man 11 demo that I talked about last week, I gave it a lot of praise. I think it plays a lot like the old Mega Mans. It feels like what a new Mega Man should feel like to me. I finally beat it.
Nice.
The reason I was quote unquote struggling was I wasn't using the new system that they added into the game, which is the double gear system. So you can make your shots stronger, which just makes things go faster. But you can also slow down time to do platforming tricks and stuff. And it's interesting because you can technically do all that stuff if you're frame perfect. Without slowing down time. So it's still going to be interesting for speedrunners because they're not going to use that, I'm sure. But for people who need it, it is super helpful and it just slows down time. And that was my problem with the boss battles. The boss fights are hard because I wasn't slowing down time. They have attacks that are telegraphed, but they are so quick that you don't notice unless you slow down time, and then you're like, oh, he's doing the long-range attack, I need to get close to him. He's doing the close attack, I need to back away, and it just gives you that extra second to get away and not get hit. So literally the first time I actually played using the new mechanic, I was able to beat it. And I, like I said, I had a blast. I think that game's going to be phenomenal. The only thing that stood out to me as negative was the music. I was not feeling, the music was so much more ambient than I wanted. I want, catchy, poppy tunes for Mega Man. So there's that. And once again, that demo's free on everything now, so just go play it. And the next thing I just want to talk about real quick is Call of Duty Blackout. This is the beta for the 80-person, I believe, Call of Duty PUBG Battle Royale mode. And it is literally just Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
A really big map.
With a big map, I don't know. I wasn't that impressed with it. It seems like a better PUBG. It's cool because it's first person. There's not really that many complete first person battle royales that are at least popular. There's a lot of weird ones, like H1Z1 is third person, but when you can only shoot in first person. So like that's kind of strange, but it's also super arcadey. Like you can still do like the jump around and shotgun people. And Call of Duty's arcadey in a different way because they added like the slide boost mechanics and like wall running and shit like that. But I was kind of hoping that this would hook me as somebody who really likes Fortnite. I was hoping that I would see this and be like, oh, yeah, this is awesome. I can't wait to play it. And, like, it's just got the same problems that I have with PUBG, which is there's so many menus and navigations. And, like, when you kill somebody, they drop a bag. And, like, H1Z1. When you kill somebody, they drop a bag, and you have to, like, search through the bag for the loot that you want. And you can, like, swap bags and all this stuff. And I'm just like, why isn't it just like you pick up their weapon, like the normal, like make it like an arena game, like more like an arena game instead of this like.
Or you just see like
PUBG.
I mean,
thing.
just like I think standard Call of Duty like pickup options. Why don't you just see a rifle
on the ground and you hit X,
and you have 3 buttons you can hit or something while you're standing there.
I don't understand. I really like I think Fortnite has a problem right now in that there's still only 5 items, and there was like a definitive loadout before, and now they've added so many things, and there's counters to certain things. Like, I don't want to get into it too much, but there's a grappling hook in Fortnite, and it is one of the most fun things I've ever done in a video game.
Yeah.
You can grapple to anything, and it shoots you up, and then it like launches you just a little bit higher and gives you just enough time to like switch to a shotgun. But if somebody sees you grappling, they can shotgun you. So like there's a counter to everything that they're doing, and it's making it so that like the best players lose more often to worse players. Like they're evening the playing field, and that's good, and that's what they want. They want
more like a rock,
are,
paper, scissors type thing.
They want people who aren't as good to at least feel like they can win, and they want people who win all the time to at least feel like they can lose. That makes sense.
Lowering the skill cap, as they call it.
That's literally what they're doing. But, like, I don't know. There's just something about the Call of Duty one that I was like, it looks like kind of what I thought it would be, I guess, which is just Call of Duty in this open world. But like, that's not what I wanted.
Like it's only good for Call of Duty people, which is fine because that's still a reasonably large-sized crowd. I just don't think it hooks any of the other Battle Royale crowds and says, you got to play this one.
Yeah, as somebody who is...
It's like you were already going to play Call of Duty Deathmatch, you know, whatever. Now, instead of leaving that to go play with your friends on a different game, you can just do it here. So it's more just
that's kind of the idea.
It's more just for Call of Duty only, and I don't think it's going to really win. It might win PUBG people over.
Sure.
Maybe, because
I agree with that.
A little less simulation shooter and more arcadey. And like I said, those are the types of people that are already playing online there anyway, so when you're done with zombies, when you're done with deathmatch, you can just do that and kind of get both. So yeah, that's my only problem with it, is that it's not making me no longer, as of however many years ago, me, the non-Call of Duty player, go, oh,
same.
I'll dip into Battle Royale now because it's on Call of Duty.
I as somebody who I'm not, I guess you can call me a Battle Royale player because I try them out.
Yeah.
I played H1Z1 and stuff. Like, I like to try them out. I think that game mode is really, really interesting. And I always have ever since MAG, which was the 256 battle thing. I thought that was a really cool game and a game
Didn't
idea.
Resistance have a big
100
player?
Resistance had 128, I believe. And that was amazing, but that felt more like Call of Duty, where it was like everybody's Rambo. MAG was way more tactical. The problem with MAG was it was completely unbalanced. Every group had their own levels and like had their own weapons and had their own things, and there was no like sharing between them. So like it was just unbalanced. Whereas Battle Royale is balanced because everybody has a random chance of getting everything. But yeah, it didn't grab me, and I was kind of hoping it would. But no, it didn't. So November for me, still just gonna let's go Eevee, I guess. I guess that's what Kevin's doing in November.
If you want some recommendations on a few 100-hour games, then let me know.
That's it for what I've been playing. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
On top of Shadow, which I started, like I said, today, a little bit earlier, I guess I'm really just going to have to make myself a schedule because of all the games that are out now. Technically, I have access to Xenoblade 2, which doesn't come out physically until next week.
Yep.
But I've got access to that. I'm not starting it until I know I can play it. So on top of that, I've also got Dragon Quest 11, which I've put a little bit more time into, like it a little bit more than last time I spoke about it. Got a new person in my party, so now I'm starting to see more than just my voiceless future Trunks, I guess is what I'm just going to call him, since you can name him anyway. But instead of just having that, I've got a little bit more companionship, party thing going on, story starting to open up. and I'm starting to get a little bit more into it. But with that being said, I'm still at hour 6 of like 100, so it's still very daunting and hard to just be like, I'm going to do it. Versus the other game with these two, Spider-Man, it's much easier to go, oh yeah, where did I leave off? I can start slinging around the city again. It's much more, it's easier to jump back into.
For sure.
And not feel overwhelmed and go, what was I doing? Like, you just, swinging around. That game, liking it more than I did last week. Obviously, Craig was here. He was talking from the perspective of like someone at like 80% of the way through the game, and I was 20, maybe 30, as far as what the map tells you. Much further now. I think I'm 50, mid-50s or 60, something like that. So made a lot of progress there. Liking it more. And it's one of those games where you start off very basic. Your combos aren't really there. Your abilities aren't really there. You don't feel like maximum power Spider-Man, but sure enough, you get gadgets, you get more abilities, you get things open up, and you have a lot more options. And now I feel like, whereas last week I said I really hate it when I walk into the crowds of 10, 12, and they're all shooting or stabbing or trying to swipe at me type thing. Now I'm just like, bring it on. I can easily do this now. So I think I've unlocked like 12 suits. Finally got the one that I wanted.
Are the suits cosmetic, or do they have powers?
So what they do is they each have a unique ability, and it's one of those like press both sticks in when
like
you fill up the meter.
Yeah.
So they both all the suits have that, but when you unlock the suit, you unlock the ability. So you can take this one's special and put it on this suit.
Oh, so the suits are technically cosmetic.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you purchase them, they're not, because you're getting the ability. Otherwise, you'd never have access to it. But yeah, once you unlock it, then it's purely cosmetic.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird. It's like yes and no, but
that's fine. I like that stuff.
I'm only like halfway through the suits, but I think I got the one that I wanted. So I'm good there. So many Easter eggs, and it's almost like playing Batman, where you're just like, oh yeah, that character. Oh yeah, that character. Like everyone, I think, who's somewhat knowledgeable about comics at least kind of knows, they could maybe name like Hobgoblin, Kingpin, Dr. Octopus, like if they've seen the movies or something like that. But we're going into like the C-list here and the B-list here and being like, oh.
That was my favorite thing about the Arkham games.
Yeah.
As somebody who liked Batman, I was like, Calendar Man, this is sweet.
So it's very much going in an Arkham style, not gameplay-wise or visually. Obviously, these games are way different. But you still kind of get that feeling of, this is a very well-rounded group of characters and stuff like that. So it feels very deep, I guess, just like Arkham does, where it's just like, you are just going years back. So that's really what's hitting me right now, is just maybe when a new character shows up, or even just like a little nod to something, or a cameo, or even it's just like, yeah, that feels good. So that's been the biggest breakout for me. I think of the 3 games I'm playing right now, I definitely like Spider-Man the most.
Interesting.
And Dragon Quest, and then Shadow, but these are like 2 high B tier games for me, and Spider-Man just a little bit above that, just because it's got a lot of polish on it, at least with the...
Yeah, that's what I feel like Tomb Raider just needs, polish.
And I'm sure with PC patches and whatnot, they can work their magic and get there, but obviously Spider-Man is a much more... not just polished, but like it was a more important game than something like Shadow was, as far as being sort of a system seller and a big deal, I guess.
Got a real ugly system to sell.
I really like that system, but there's no way I
don't understand.
I was going to do black with weird colors. Mine's like a yellowish green.
Yeah. This is
Joy-Cons.
like, I like bright colors, and I always have, but I also always regret whenever I get something bright colored. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get bright blue shoes. And I wear my bright blue shoes, and like people are commenting on them, and they're like, oh, I feel good about myself. And then every once in a while, you get the person who's just like, the fuck are you doing wearing these bright blue shoes? I'm like, oh, this is as crazy as I get nowadays.
So yeah, the bright red would it would just throw everything off on that shelf. I went through the trouble of getting a white, Xbox,
and PS4,
white PS4, and I'm waiting for the white Joy-Cons to go with this. But then it'll be like complete. I can't stand like rainbow.
Yeah,
basically
I have
color.
everything I have is like a white and black theme in my room right now. Even like my furniture is all white, but then I always have like black. My chair is white and black. I try to get white and black controllers for things.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to keep that theme. Yeah, and then my Switch is just pink and green. Whatever.
So yeah, I would love to have that system so much, but I'd have to hide it. If you want to release a Venom version, I'll get that one.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. I like you saw the mock-ups? Did you see the Gwen Stacy mock-up?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I would rock that one.
So unless they want to release bright ass pink Xbox or whatever, if I'm gonna get the rainbow, at least have it with different systems, sort of thing.
It's a lot.
But that being said,
Look like a candy store.
really, really liking all 3 games in various, I guess, degrees. Spider-Man, I'm gonna finish first because it's, like I said, it's more digestible. Dragon Quest, I'm just gonna have to go through the end of the year. Like it's just gonna be a section by section type thing.
Yeah.
Haven't started Xenoblade. I'm waiting for one of these 3 to finish. I think I can do Spider-Man and Tomb Raider this week. I think.
Tomb Raider, I think you can get through pretty quickly.
Yeah, because I'm not. At least when there's this many games going on and this like depth as far as like game time going, that collector 100%er version of me just disappears.
As soon as I saw that the trophy was beat it on hard, I was like, I'm not 100%ing this. Like that's all it took.
So yeah, I went into Spider-Man pretty hard on that. I'm gonna 100% this, and then these other things on top of it is just like I'm gonna 75% this. So I'll be able to finish hopefully both of those games. Just have Dragon Quest and Xenoblade, so 200 hours worth of games going until the next thing comes out.
Sure. All right, let's move into the news. We have tons of news to go over this week. 90% of this news is either from like a TGS conference, which had so many things, so I just picked a couple to talk about. And then there was a Nintendo Direct that got delayed because of an earthquake, or as Todd said, a hurricane. And I was like, nope. And then he's like, tomato, potato. Oh, no, it was Craig that said that. He goes, tomato, potato. I was like, nope, definitely an earthquake. Anyway, so it got delayed because of that. We finally got it, and I was shocked at the news that we got because it was so good. Yeah. But anyway, let's start with the Sony news, which first and foremost, I want to talk about the Kingdom Hearts VR experience.
I'll be asleep.
So this was interesting. They had like this weird gameplay thing that they showed where it's like somebody with a Keyblade, very clearly a move controller type thing. Yeah. They're hitting Heartless. Sure. I don't really want to do that. I like looking at the worlds aesthetically in VR because it is different. I talked to you, actually, I think you saw it, but Danganronpa in VR was really cool because...
Yeah, I tried it. I even tried it on my own.
Yeah, like the anime aesthetic in VR actually works really well, and I didn't think it would, and it is something that works really well. So I'm excited to see that about Kingdom Hearts. I don't need to whack Heartless with a move controller. I'm all good.
Yeah, anything like anime, even cell shaded, would work just infinitely. Like you don't have to worry about the, is it in 720p? Something like that. Like it's gonna look just as good.
Yeah.
On
top of that, they also said that it was going to be some sort of like recap to Kingdom Hearts 3, which is good because there's 10 games that they need to recap. I personally have played all 10, so I know what's up. But if they like VR the cutscenes or something, what I'm scared that this is, and they didn't talk about it, it's supposed to be coming this holiday, so I imagine December, because they like to put out Kingdom Hearts things in December. I imagine this is
except full games.
I imagine this is the cutscenes in like a movie theater. That's kind of all I'm kind of getting. Sure. And like I feel like it's not the cutscenes for the whole game.
Yeah,
because
when
it's
I
free.
see like the VR experience attached to something, it feels like more of a kickback and watch, not interactive.
I don't think this is anything to get super excited about as much as I love Kingdom Hearts.
Don't worry.
On top of that, they put out a new trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3, and I'm a big stupid and keep watching these trailers and then go, I would have liked to see that in the game. But Big Hero 6 World has been revealed. They announced that was going to be a thing. They never showed it. It looks so good. It looks just like the movie. I'm super excited about that. They showed some other plot points from the game that I don't want to talk about because I'm pretty over it. Also, there's still no sound effects in the trailer, and it's still not in English. So good luck hitting your January with that. Very, very worried.
Doesn't mean Japan won't get it in January.
I guess that's true. Well, they made a big deal that it's a worldwide release, but yeah, like there's no sound effects in the game. Hurry up. What have you been doing for 8 years?
Maybe it's like a make your own type of sound effects.
My God. They have that in WarioWare. That's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. Those are more like not the sound effects you'd want in a serious game.
Next up, Judge Eyes, a.k.a. Project Judge, has been revealed. Have you seen this? You know what this is?
A little bit, yeah.
So this is...
Saw the name of it and instantly thought Judge Dredd.
Yeah,
I was sorely disappointed.
That's what everybody says. So this is the Yakuza team doing a kind of another take on Yakuza where you're like a lawyer and there's going to be some sort of like... I guess Phoenix Wright style gameplay to this, but you're also just beating the shit out of things. So
that's my favorite MO of that company. It's like we can do something different as long as you get into crazy like street fights and just kick people's ass. Maybe a little karaoke on the side.
I'm totally down for this. Next up, something that we're going to talk about later, I believe, is Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. They've been remastering their entire catalog.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Everybody's Golf VR. This seems like a full VR game that is Everybody's Golf. That sounds awesome to me. I'm a little bit worried about it. I just because I don't think golf is going to be more fun in VR than it is when I just play it normally.
It was more fun when you are a 1,000-foot robot.
No, that was not fun at all, and that was a waste of money. And that was a topic I wanted to do once, which was games you actually felt like you wasted your money on, and that was going to be my number one, because I'm so mad I bought that game. You guys convinced me, and I feel very tricked. Anyway, Everybody's Golf VR. I'm excited about this. I will be getting it, but like I said, I don't think it can top, like, just the regular Everybody's Golf that we got on PS4.
I don't feel like even for a split second, even in my brain, I was just like, what if I could play this in VR? That's just a weird... Sports isn't something I want VR for.
I understand boxing, like it makes sense, but like I agree.
Yeah, if you want to go martial arts, okay.
But I agree, like sports is not where I want to be in VR either.
Yeah. I mean, especially if they tried to sell me on like football or hockey, like then your field of vision goes like this, and you want to see like everything.
I think it's because with sports games they try to emulate what you see on TV, and they've gotten so good at it, except for wrestling. They've gotten so good at it that like that's what we're used to, and it's like if I wanted to play the sport, I would just go play the sport. Like that's not a thing I can't do in real life. I can't like go military shoot these people with like
you can. Kind of frowned upon.
But like I can't go Firewall 0 hour on people. You know what I mean? Like that's something I have to do in VR.
And I hate mud, so I can't be Lara Croft.
Right. Yeah, I can't explore Lara Croft's mansion in Rise of the Tomb Raider like you can in VR. But like I can go play golf.
Yeah.
That's not something I need to VR. So
you just gotta go like right across the road.
Yeah, I know. Next up, Space Channel 5 VR. I'm down with this.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
No. I was just saying, okay. Like,
okay.
Sure, man.
Ooh La La. I'm a big fan of Ooh La La. I'm fine with up, down, shoot. Like, that's fine with me. The only thing that I'm worried, like, this is obviously in Japanese, and I'm not quite sure what this is. This doesn't seem like a full game to me. But if it was, Kevin would play it and be very happy about it. Because I like Ooh La La.
It's aggressively Japanese.
Is Michael Jackson in this one? Let me know. Next up is Gungrave Gore. Do you know anything about the Gungrave games?
I have heard of this, and I saw, if you want to call this an announcement, it was just like a character standing still or kneeling.
I know the posters for the games, but I've never played them, and I've never had an interest to play them.
But no, I haven't played it or have any real ties to the series. So
sure. It says Japan Winter 2019, so it's pretty far away.
Normally they don't announce stuff that far out.
Recently, yeah. They had so many announcements on the stage, though. And then next up, Dogfighter World War II. And this, to me, just looked like I don't want to say a cash grab, but it looked like they were trying to make like a Crimson Skies type thing, which is cool.
I mean, even the description of it is basically Crimson Skies. Most of those planes, how they handled, how they fired, all that was fairly accurate for, like a video game. It wasn't like a documentary type style or anything, but it was also to control it was very approachable for the casual player.
What if we make a game that's a documentary? That could be cool.
I don't know how well that's gonna sell.
So you do your actions and what you choose and stuff, and then it cuts to like an interview with the person. They're like, "This is what I was thinking when I did that." They sort of do that in Until Dawn a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say Until Dawn, but that's a little creepier than I think I would like to go.
Sure. Next up, Dead or Alive 6 got another trailer, and it is releasing February 15th, 2019, way sooner than I thought it would be.
Way sooner, way worse of a release date.
Oh, I'm down. I'm
gonna get it. Yeah. But man, why would you get anywhere near January, February?
Because it's a February game, or because it's a fighting game, and they don't.
But
care.
It's good for them that they're releasing that far ahead of like the Evos and the stuff like that, so they can maybe build up a little bit of a fan base for it.
So this trailer looked like Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Like, this looked straight Dead or Alive. Marie Rose is back. That's who I play as. I thought the poster child would disappear from the game.
The first trailer or, like, sneak peeks at it made it look like a really different game.
Yeah.
But I think that's just they were doing some stuff with stages, and I think when they showed that wasn't whatever date it was when they showed it. It wasn't, like, reflective of where the game was at right then.
You can kick somebody into a pterodactyl in this game. So, game of the year, I'm pretty sure. It is the over-the-top 3D fighting game. They did tone down the sexuality, clearly, but, like, it's still there. It's not like it's gone. I'm feeling way more comfortable with the game as it is, and my characters are there. I like the mechanics of those games. I'm totally down. Tekken, Soul Calibur looks freaking amazing. Especially what's her name, Tara? Is Tara the girl I'm gonna play as?
DLC girl.
That dyed hair and fuck you attitude. I'm a big fan of. And then this game on top of it, like all three of those games, look are phenomenal.
Smash in between that, so it's really good. Variety-wise for fighting games, maybe even later on that year, maybe we can get like a Persona Arena announcement and really get like all corners of fighting games that Nick likes to play. Covered.
I'm still on board with the Blaze Blue. I still play that everyone. You're not as on board with Cross Tag.
I just haven't had time to devote to it, so I don't like to half-ass. Like if I'm playing a fighting game, I want to crush everyone.
You want to understand why you lose and stuff.
When I'm losing to like misinformation or I didn't know they released this character.
Yeah,
then
that feels awful.
Yeah.
I agree. Next up, please help me. Decracini? I don't know. There's a bunch of apostrophes and stuff in this.
I'm not Italian, so...
Anyway, this is the Bloodborne team, the From Software VR game that they revealed at E3 at, like, the post-show, I believe it was. They talked about it is very much a classic adventure game, so, you're thinking like a point-and-click adventure, I imagine. It looks beautiful for a VR game. And it is coming this year. It's coming November 6th, and it's going to be a $30 game. I think, if I remember correctly, GameStop is getting the physical edition exclusively. So I'm on board.
Yep.
I'll be getting that.
And that's cool because
I think this game's going to be great.
From isn't really known. I don't want to say their games look bad, so I'm just putting that out there.
Bloodborne's beautiful.
They aren't known for just like visually stunning thing. It's always not horror, but like real dark, real gritty, real...
It's easier to hide things when it's dark.
Well, stuff like that. And the setting of their typical games, at least in the Souls series or even Bloodborne, which is basically a Souls game, they are very, more gothic theme, more stuff like that. So you don't have like the bright sunshine. So they're kind of departing from that, and that's cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this, whatever it is. I think you're a fairy or something. I don't remember. It was like a very not From
Sounds
Software.
like a normal day for me.
Yeah, it's a very not From Software type thing, and that excites me. Next up, the Nintendo Direct, the delayed Nintendo Direct. We're just going to go over some of the announcements. If there's something that we really want to talk about, we can do it. But I just want to say, rest in peace, Vita. So I have my Vita here. You crushed it with your controller.
Almost got it wet too.
You did. So I have my Vita here. I do love this Vita. I got the Dancing All Night Vita. It's very, very nice. I talk about how I don't like bright things too much. I got this highlighter yellow Vita.
Definitely a liar.
Yeah. This direct was the direct to me that sealed that I'm kind of done with my Vita, which sucks. There is still games I have unopened that I want to play on it. Particularly, I have Metal Gear 1, 2, 3 that I want to go through on it, and there's a couple of, like, other little things that I want to do. But good night, Sweet Prince.
Time to rename it. It's dead.
yeah, they need a new name for it. Because the Switch completely sold me with this direct in particular. They're getting the remasters that Vita has Final Fantasy, 7. Vita has Final Fantasy 10. Like, it has these games, and I loved playing them on it and everything. But, like, what has these games now? The Switch. And it's got the indie games. It's selling the best. It's going to continue to get these things.
Yep.
Like I said, I love my Vita. I've been a huge advocate of the Vita. In fact, the reveal for this podcast, when forever ago when I did it, I was playing Vita in the reveal thing. It's coming. This is the year it's going, and I'm moving on to Switch.
Yeah.
Particularly, there's one huge announcement that we're going to get to that kind of sealed the deal. But just like little things.
Spoilers, it's Yokai Watch.
Katamari and stuff, dude. Oh my gosh.
It's the PS Mortem now, I guess.
Yeah. So let's go over some news. So they started with 3DS. This direct was supposed to be directed at 3DS future releases and Switch future releases, kind of, So we have Kirby's Epic Yarn 3DS. Don't care. I
called it Kirby's Epic Yawn because I've almost fell asleep during that part.
Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Inside Story, and I think this was like some sort of collection thing too.
Something like that.
Luigi's Mansion.
Mm-hmm.
Care a lot. Why is it not on Switch?
Who knows?
That's another thing.
It was really weird to be like, number 3 is here, because especially with the way they did like Bayonetta, you would expect them to go, and here's the download
I
code
think we're getting there.
Okay.
I think we're getting there. We'll talk about it when we get there, but yeah, I agree. Yokai Watch Blasters. Todd.
That's the one.
Very excited for this, I'm sure.
We won't get him on the phone for this one.
No. He's got way more important things to do right now. But no. So, like, whatever. I like my I shouldn't say I like my 3DS. I don't actually like it that much. There's games on 3DS I still want to play.
Yeah.
For sure. There's like 5 or 6 I like desperately want to own, and I want to get those, but like I'm always doing this stall because I'm like, please just come to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand porting something from the 3DS to the Switch. Like they just did Monster Hunter recently. I understand that's got to be harder because you're bringing 2 screens into one. You basically have to turn one into a pause screen and like figure out how that's going to work. But like, give me Majora's Mask. Give me Ocarina of Time. Give me Link Between Worlds, which I feel like Link Between Worlds will show up. Give me, give me Kid Icarus. Like, give me these 3DS games.
I don't care about any of those. Just give me Persona Q.
Persona Q and Q2. Like, give me those games so I can get rid of my 3DS, please.
I would. I'm ready for the Pokemon Switch over. I'm ready to have Persona Q games over. I'm ready to have, like, Phoenix Wright style games over. I'm ready for all that, so...
Anyway, those were kind of the 3DS announcements. They got over with them pretty quick, which made me happy. Then they moved into the Switch. So we got Luigi's Mansion 3 coming to the Switch. I agree. I think we're going similar to how I think we're going to get Metroid, the Metroid Prime trilogy on Switch eventually.
Okay.
We got Bayonetta. I think we're going to get Luigi's Mansions on Switch. I think it's just they're not ready to announce that. How do you feel about this one, Luigi's Mansion 3? I'm excited.
It depends on when it comes out, I guess, for me.
2019?
I'll still play it.
I am a little weary about all their 2019 release dates because they did that last year with Yoshi and like Kirby and stuff, and they were just like, here's games that are coming out. And then I would say we never saw them again. We saw them here. But like, I was just like, where's that Yoshi game that you guys talked about like a year ago? Like, what happened to that?
Found it.
Next up, Splatoon 2 got an update. I think it was 4.0, if I remember correctly.
I think that's the number, yeah.
It adds a whole bunch more costumes. It adds some quality of life things where you can like make your own teams and stuff in multiplayer. Cool. They're
probably prepping a little bit for I guess one of the announcements later on in this, but probably prepping more for like a big multiplayer online sort of move. I know they've already had a system there, but trying to make it a little bit more interactive.
Yeah, I love Splatoon 2, and this didn't even really get me going that much, except for that trailer with the new music.
Music was real good.
That was a real good trailer. Next up, Mega Man 11 out now, the demo. That was clearly a delayed announcement that was a little bit awkward.
It's not a lie. It is still out now.
That's true. Mario Tennis gets an update. I don't
added characters and stuff like that. It's
yeah.
really cool that they
Piranha
let you change people's costumes and stuff like that, though. Too.
Sure.
Yeah, the big piranha dude. Okay, cool.
The Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. So this is cool because Capcom's been doing these like remasters with the Mega Man collection. They did the Saturday morning cartoon collection with DuckTales and stuff in it. This is just another one that has their beat 'em ups. You got Final Fight, King of Dragons, Captain Commando, Knights of the Realm, Warriors of Fate, Armored Warriors, Battle Circuit. Very cool. Yeah, very, very cool.
Capcom, like, slowly
and it's
but
out
surely...
the 18th? Like, it's just
this coming week.
Yeah.
Capcom, like, slowly killing it lately.
I agree. Capcom, best revival of a company I've seen in a very long time. Konami, pay attention. Please.
Sega?
Sega's
50-50.
Sega's been drowning for a very long time.
The 50 that I want to be good just hasn't been revived quite yet.
Oh, that's true. Though that Sonic Racing game looks so good. It looks so good.
Yeah, I'll play it.
Next up, Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. This has been a rumor for a very long time that this was coming out.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. I'm not going to pay any sort of full price thing for it. This is like a Black Friday add-on, wait for a discount game. Like, this is, I want it, I don't need it. That's
I don't know the character's name, but the one with the cool little like satchel with him, or that bag that he carries around and has like God mode. I'll play that one. It's like a little raccoon looking thing or something.
Katamari Damacy Remaster, I think it's called Reroll, is just a remaster of Katamari. I'm down. Cool. I like Katamari.
Game's fun.
King of the Cosmos, all that stuff. Next up, the worst part of the Direct, I would say.
Some of the 3DS stuff was a little snoozy, but yeah.
This was not only snoozy, it was disappointing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, God.
I wanted to pull up the calendar and see what year it was.
So Nintendo announced their online service that they've been teasing and talking about forever. It's coming on the 18th. And it will give you online play. That thing that you've had for free for the past year and a half, you now have to pay for. I was really hoping that they would announce that it was only for new games. Like, if the game is out before September 18th, it's always going to be free, just to kind of, stop the bleeding a little bit. They did not do that. Then they announced that there's NES titles. They're going to have, co-op play. Some have online play. Some have like a share play type of thing where you can play online and like stream your game to people past the controller modes. All that stuff, really cool. People excited to see what the other games were. They're all garbage. Yeah. They announced the good games already, so that's not a good thing. They announced cloud saves, which is awkward because they made it seem... They're like, accidents happen and you might break your Switch. But if you pay us... it won't matter.
Yeah, it showed like a big boulder falling on the Switch. It's like, you're not Lara Croft playing the Switch.
I know.
What are you doing?
That was weird to me. I was like, cloud save should, like, at least backup stuff should be free if you break your... Like, that's just not good customer support.
No.
The fact that if you break your Switch, they're just like, oh, you're screwed. Great.
Yeah, the only thing cloud saves is good for, in my case, is like, oh, you haven't played 40 hours of Smash Ultimate, huh? Well, here's all the characters. Let's play it.
Yeah, like, it's weird. The cloud saves matter to me on PlayStation a lot for a couple reasons. One, I can shoot stuff to my Vita, rest in peace, and back and forth. And two, I have more than one PlayStation 4, so it's nice to be able, like, if I'm streaming a game or whatever, I can just, like, shoot my progress to the PlayStation I have set up on the stream station.
Without pulling half your room apart?
Yeah, and then shoot it back, and it's not a big deal. Switch is literally built to do that. It is a portable that all you need is the dock, and it goes with you, so it's just strange that this is a thing. But anyway, on top of that, the smartphone app features. Nobody cares. Get rid of this. Awful.
Yeah, I don't want to use my cell phone plan to talk to people. I don't even want to talk to people on the phone.
I know. Also, there is a special offer that they did not go into.
Yeah.
That is a question mark.
I don't know if it's supposed to be like a PS Plus type deal. Or
I think it's going to be like if you pre-order a game, you get 10% off any game you pre-order.
Maybe.
Like, I don't care. And then it's only $20 a year, so it's not a big deal. The way you got to think about it, I think, is you're paying $20 to play Zelda and Metroid and Mario. That's the way I got to think about it. For me to want to do that. They also announced that there's going to be wireless NES controllers. How do you feel about this one?
I like that they attach to the dock or the actual Switch console itself, and then I saw the price tag and laughed, almost exited the stream.
Yeah, if it was half the price, I would consider it.
Yeah.
But I have an NES Classic, and I don't need this.
Yeah.
Like, those... If I'm going to be playing the games like that, I'll play it on my NES Classic or my NES, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need this to be playing on a Switch. I'm not going to wirelessly be playing Mario like that. Like, that's just not going to happen.
You could get that, or you could get like a nice shiny controller for another system.
And they keep announcing these collector's editions, like the Pokemon Go Let's Go collector's edition, which has an Eevee and a Pikachu on it. The controllers are Eevee colored and Pikachu colored.
It's like a sand color. Like
you hate the Eevee colored one.
I really wish they had done 2 Pikachus, 2 Eevees, because then it would look cool. But like one is solid bright yellow Pikachu yellow, and one's like a sand kind of brown, and it looks because they're similar colors from like a distance, but when you get close, it's like
it looks fine when it's in the dock because they have a Pikachu and an Eevee on the dock, and
it matches.
You can go, oh, I get it. But yeah, it is weird. I wouldn't be surprised if they sell the opposites similar like they did with Splatoon. They'll sell them eventually. But
it feels like you left like a corner of it in the sun, and this one got like
faded out. Yeah. The other thing the part that I actually like the best is the back of the console.
Yes,
has silhouettes of Eevees and Pikachus all over it, and like I don't care about that. But I care really that they are doing collector's editions for these Switches now. But like my thing always is with the Switch is the easiest console ever to make all these cool accessories and things for, and they're not doing it yet.
Yeah.
They're doing the Joy-Cons, which is great. But like you can just sell just the screen, man.
Yeah.
And like I would buy another just like Switch screen because I have extra Joy-Cons and stuff to
I'm ready for them to start making different color actual Switches.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get a white,
or even
at least to start.
Yeah,
give me a green so I can just be real gaudy and ugly. Let's do it. Whatever. Diablo is coming to the Switch.
Carry around basically a watermelon.
Cosmo and Wanda was the nickname. Diablo is coming to the Switch. We've known that.
Yeah.
Not very surprising. Super Mario Party got a lot of new news. We've got a single player mode of some sort coming to it, which is interesting. There is an online mode, but it kind of was like asterisk online mode. It seems like it's like a mini game.
Yeah, it's almost like a run the gauntlet style from what I saw. It's just competing like a series of mini games.
Yeah.
The single player thing looks more fun than the previous Mario Party combined.
Cutting my thumb off looks more fun than the previous Mario Party.
But they showed like a sneak peek at some of the modes, and man, I want this game
so
right
bad
now.
Dude, I'm considering us like just live streaming this game when it comes out and having a good old time.
Live streaming never works out well for us, but I'm sure we can figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Next up, Game Freak, who makes Pokemon, has a new RPG coming out. It's called Town. The aesthetically and everything, it looks really cool to me. The combat and stuff looks really cool to me. But then they were like, hey, it all takes place in a town and you're just like defending your town. I'm like, oh, it's like an RPG tower defense. I'm out. Not interested anymore.
I just kind of like stared blankly at this and just watched it pass. And I was just like, this exists.
Next up, City Skylines available. Cool.
Sure.
Some people excited about that. Not me. Daemon X Machina
had a really rockin' soundtrack going.
It always has, all of its trailers.
Yeah, it's the same as kind of watching any of the Devil May Cry videos for me, where it's just like you're just like bobbing and bouncing while you're watching it because like I said, some real rockin' tunes. Gameplay looks whatever, but if I get that soundtrack, I might consider it.
Next up, Yoshi's Crafted World. So Craig was right. The rumored name that leaked online was correct. This game looks way cooler than I thought it would. I'm not opposed to getting it now.
Wow, and you hate Yoshi.
I don't hate Yoshi, but like Yoshi reminds me of Little Big Planet in that he's floaty and kind of like babyish.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like Little Big Planet, but it also has this whole mode where you can make your own levels.
Yeah.
But I like
and
the
stickers
the gimmick of you can flip the worlds backwards and do them in reverse and all this. I think that's pretty cool and unique. So I am not opposed to this game. Though once again, it doesn't matter because there's a game coming out on Switch that literally is all I need ever, and we'll get there. There's a tabletop game collection coming out. This is cool. There's actually something similar coming to PlayStation 4, I think.
That would be really cool. Like the thing that struck me is sort of how Mario Party, it showed from the at least release videos that here we are like docking stuff together.
Yeah.
If you could end up making like a board out of it and type of stuff like that.
Just put 4 Switches together for the low price of $1,200 and you can play this board game too.
Yeah, I was going to say if you don't buy any accessories, it's a little bit cheaper.
Civilization 6, this not leaked, but the delay on the direct kind of caused a problem. Starlink got another trailer. Wolf showed up.
They went...
They really want to be Star Fox.
Yeah, it used to be like, here's Starlink, oh, here's some Star Fox stuff to go with it, sort of like a 50-50, and now this whole thing was just, here's Star Fox, the game called Starlink.
Yeah, I'm actually confused about what Starlink is at this point. Next up, The World Ends With You. Please give me it. I'm so excited.
You've been wanting to play that for a while.
Everything about that game just speaks to me, and I really, really like it. I think that's October 13th or something along those lines. It's in October. October has so many games that I want. I have 8 games or something coming out in October, and I'm still waiting for that Tetris effect to sweep me away. Next up, Xenoblade 2. This is the expansion?
Yeah.
For Xenoblade 2.
They're just showing off a little bit about it.
Warframe. Pretty neat. That game is way more popular than most people think, actually. It's a pretty big news. Yeah. Just Dance 2019, FIFA 19.
Kind of the filler games.
Yeah, Sonic Racing, which we've known about, NBA, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, Lego DC Supervillains, once again, games that we've known. Then Square was just like, hey, you know what game did really well? Fun fact, I didn't know this. Octopath Traveler, first JRPG at number 1, since what JRPG?
Final Fantasy 12.
Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's been a long time. So Square was like, oh, people pay money for these things that they like. Here's 15 Final Fantasy games.
It really feels like someone was just kind of sitting there and gauging, watching on the monitor where Octopath fell, and then they just pulled a lever, and then all the Final Fantasies, except 8, spilled out.
Well, 8's not on, 8 hasn't been redone yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get it eventually. But yeah, so we have Crystal Chronicles Remastered. I think that was the GameCube one. We have Pocket Edition Final Fantasy 15. We talked about that last week. That's really cool, actually, I think, for the Switch. World of Final Fantasy, kind of a complete edition, which is nice. Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, which is a game I used to play with my niece, I think, on the Wii or something like that.
We're back, baby.
I'm oddly interested in this game just because of that.
Do you like me some Chocobo?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very tasty. Final Fantasy 12, The Zodiac Age. I played that on PS4.
It is now
I wish I waited.
Completely on everything. It's basically become Skyrim.
Sure, all these games have. And then the numbered Final Fantasies with 7, which is huge, and I will absolutely be playing it on Switch. 9, I will be playing on Switch. 10, and I might even, I won't play 10 again, but 10-2, I only got 5 or 6 hours in, and I was like, man, I hate this combat, and I would love to hate the combat on Switch as well, so I'll probably pick that up for Switch.
I like all of the Squall memes that came from
Poor Squall
not being announced.
Leon. Next up, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. We got another one of those hardware bundles, so they are committing to it. This one, a bit better.
The dock.
Well, it was the dock that had Mario and Kirby and them kind of the originals facing off.
Yeah.
And then the Joy-Con controllers, but they had that the Smash Ball X. I still don't actually know why that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just their logo.
It's just like a shing, kind of thing that they do. So,
but it had that kind of going across the Joy-Cons, which is cool.
The left one looks sweet. The right one.
The right one has a line on it.
Random line.
So that's neat. I'm sure that's going to sell very, very well. Then they pulled into the Animal Crossing world, and I was like, man, are we getting Animal Crossing Switch? And no, we're getting Isabelle in Smash Brothers.
Which is crazy. I thought she was an Echo Fighter when they first showed it. She's her own thing.
Oh, have they announced that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that's why I was linking the character page to you. Like,
I
she's
also
just
thought she was an Echo Fighter.
Yep, she's her own thing.
So here's the thing. Let me tell you about this. You played Animal Crossing. You like Animal Crossing?
Oh, yeah.
I don't. Isabelle is not even in the top 5 Animal Crossing characters I think of when I think of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
I think of like KK Slider first, who I think would have been much more interesting. Tom Nook could have been really, really funny as a character with like some gimmicks going on with money.
I would have agreed with that until the literal second before her gameplay started. I go, okay, I'm cool with this.
She's like hitting people with like pom-poms and Sonic's running up and she puts up a stop sign.
She puts up the stop sign. That's what got me.
I don't know. Like, she's just not... Like, I feel like you could swap her for literally any... I don't know their names, I guess, so maybe that's in her favor, and I do know Isabelle. But, like, you could swap her for the owl characters and, like, just any Animal Crossing character that's not the villager. And I feel like
we went through predictions. I've seen all sorts of articles with predictions out there. No one said her at all.
No. So, all bets are off.
Yeah.
I hope the next reveal is just the bird from Animal Crossing is in the game. It becomes like Fire Emblem.
I'm glad at the way they did that, even though I think they could have made it a little bit more of a surprise because she talks about Smash like 2 or 3 times before she opens up the letter
you knew it was coming, especially when the letter thing comes up. But anyway, that's cool. I'm not gonna play as her probably or anything like that. I'm not upset. I'm not upset that she's in the game.
I would draft her in that big draft mode. I would draft her.
But then it ends. Tom Nook looks very lonely and like he wants to put you in debt.
Yeah.
And then we get Welcome to Animal Crossing announced for the Switch 2019. I'm so excited. Animal Crossing is probably the most Switch game I can think of ever since they've announced it. I want nothing more than to lose hours of my life paying off a raccoon.
More. This is one of those internet lost its mind sort of moments. Internet shut down for a solid 10-15 minutes. So, yep, people finally got it.
Super excited. Like I said, the Switch is going to be the successor to the Vita for me, and I imagine for a lot of other people. And I'm excited. I'm excited about it.
Me too. It can take its time coming out.
Got to get that Salt and Sanctuary at the end of the month.
Oh,
for the Switch now.
Sure.
It's coming out on Vita. I was in a debate. Is that going to be my last Vita game? Because I wanted it to be Catherine.
Yeah.
But Catherine's not coming out physically, and I wanted it to be Persona Dancing, not coming out physically. So Salt and Sanctuary is kind of an option as the last one.
That would be kind of funny because I'm sure you'd be salty about it dying.
But like, it's coming out on Switch, so I might as well get it for Switch at this point. So I don't know. Let's move into a question real quick. What game memories do you have about games that you don't actually own? So games that you borrowed, played at friends' houses, rented, etc. I have a lot, and the thing is, I shouldn't say I tend, because when I was a kid, I definitely didn't. But like, I know that when I would go into a store, like a Blockbuster or something, and like there was a sale, and it was like, ooh, if you buy 2, you get 1 free or something. My mom's like, you can pick out 3 things. I would tend to try to pick out things that I knew I would like, or I knew that I played before and I liked. So like that's when I'd get like James Bond, Agent Under Fire, or Tekken Tag. That's where I got Tekken Tag because I played so much. Like I rented that game so much, I had like all 25 characters unlocked. So when I bought it, I was like, oh, there's nothing to do in this game. Why did I buy this? So there's not too many that I don't actually own nowadays, but there's a couple big ones. Golden.
Well, I even didn't own it at the time, but then like, you liked it so much that you bought it.
GoldenEye was a huge one. I played GoldenEye at everybody's house, and I never actually owned that game, at least up until recently.
Was the cool thing about N64, and that was the cool thing about like Xbox kind of LAN party era, is that there would be 12 people there, maybe 2 actually own the game.
Yeah.
So
it worked out.
to have so much experience with something, but it's sort of like being a job where you just rack up all these hours and like you don't actually own any of this type stuff.
My favorite was when you'd go to somebody's house, or somebody would come to your house and they'd bring their memory card and they'd like load up their save with all their shit, and then you'd swap memory cards and save it onto your stuff. Like, you can't do that anymore, and it's sad to me because that's something I actually really, really liked was, like, I'll unlock these characters and you unlock that. Like, we'll figure out, like, how we're going to do this. I'll do it for this game and you do it for that game. And, like, then that just went away probably because of trophies, unfortunately. Like, the thing is, I like trophies. I like hunting them and stuff. I wish they never existed. They caused way more problems than they solved.
Yeah, I would be fine with achievements, trophies, all that not existing, and starting them now with, like, a new, like, PS5, whatever, and like tying actual real world rewards to it.
Well, they have that if you sign up on PlayStations, at least every 10 platinums you get $10. Every 50 I think it's 50 golds.
Yeah,
or, like they have a thing.
More reasonable rewards.
To be fair, I'm about to get like $19 from PlayStation to spend on their store. Woohoo! Other games, Yoshi's Story was a big one. I played that one so much. That's another one where, like, I've seen every level of that game. I had the black and white Yoshis and everything. I have never owned that game once in my life. Like, I just played it from renting it and going to people's houses. Super Smash for the N64. The N64 is really the console that did that for me. And I think it was because N64 not as big in cheat codes as the PS1. PlayStation 1, there's a lot of games you could buy and just type in cheat codes and unlock the stuff. And 64 wasn't as much like that.
There were some, but they were very awkward to input.
Yeah. But like you borrow like people's carts and stuff, and they just have the complete games on it.
I knew plenty of people, at least for N64, who owned like a controller. And that's just their controller. They didn't own a system or a game.
They're like, man, everybody has this. Yeah, it's weird using somebody else's controller.
Back when Nintendo accessories weren't $80 each, you could just be like, hey man, I'm over here like every week playing Smash or GoldenEye.
I want this atomic purple.
Yeah, here's my banana yellow N64 controller.
What did you use? I use the gray. I am a purist with color. I know we talked about earlier how I've been like doing this black and white, though black and white are kind of pure colors nowadays. They're kind of what we get. Like N64, gotta go gray. I use the gray. GameCube, gotta do the indigo. That was the like announced main color. Gotta go indigo. Don't give me a silver. Don't give me a black. I want to play with the indigo colored controller. You know what I mean? I always try to get the like real quote unquote color.
For whatever reason, I know I'm a real stickler. Like I want my Xbox all the way to Switch to match as best as possible, or everything on the shelf. But when it comes to like controllers, I want something like this. Well, that can pass as black, especially if you're playing.
It looks like black right now, yeah.
But I want something that completely doesn't match. So when I get,
you don't get it mixed up with people.
Well, yeah, I want it to be like special. So not so much like skins for it or designs or anything like that. Like I don't have to have like an inscription in it, but I do like it to be a bit different than the color of the system. So at least as far as like the solid, like kind of more matte colors, I guess. I like the yellow. That's why I said the banana yellow.
That one's rare.
Yeah, it is. That was another reason too, because most people, you just grab the gray one or like the green one or the blue one right off. But yellow was kind of like never there.
Yeah, yellow, and there is a green that was like transparent. I think
I was gonna say there's a transparent teal that I really liked because it reminded me of a GameCube, or sorry, not a GameCube, a Game Boy that I used to have. Oh, okay. So, but yeah, as far as like the standard colors, I liked yellow for sure. And yeah, that was the first time, because I mean NES controllers were all the same, and stuff like that. Where I was really
I have
just
a blue
like,
one, but it's
where I was really
third
like,
party.
You're not touching my controller. Like I've won so many rounds with this.
Yeah, even when it was annoying because I'd bring like my gray controller over and like I didn't want to swap it with their gray controller. Like I'm super paranoid about that stuff. I'm like, don't touch my controller.
Yeah, and
I'd like put it in the other room when we go like to eat or something like that. That way I know it's my controller.
I get like the gamer hands and stuff too if it's like a real intense round of like GoldenEye or something like that. So yeah,
I'd rather use my broken ass gray controller than your perfectly fine one. Another game that I just want to bring up is Dragon Ball. I believe it was called GT, and it was a PlayStation 1 game. And this one was interesting because I rented it from a store in New Jersey. Legitimately, I don't know, but every few months at least, I would rent this, and it was like a side. It was a fighting game, like 2D fighting game, side scroller type thing, and I'd play it all the time. And one day I went in there to rent it, and I looked, and it wasn't on the shelf, and I was like, huh. And then I went up to the counter and I picked something else out, and I looked in the back of the counter and it was there. And I was like, oh, that's the game I want to rent that I've rented 20 times. Can I please rent that? And the guy behind the counter just goes, this game's worth $100 now. We're not renting it anymore. And I was like, oh, okay. And I've never played that game since. And I don't know. For some reason, I don't like
rentals. You probably could have just bought it.
Absolutely. But as somebody who like isn't that big. I don't know much about Dragon Ball at all.
Just name foods.
I liked that game. Yeah. And I have this weird like soft spot for that game that I have no attachment to its source material. But
pick a food and add a vowel to the end, and it's probably a Dragon Ball character.
So that's it for me. Is there any other ones you want to throw?
Yeah, I kind of broke it down into different little formats, but as far as streaming games go, never, at least for a long time. I think I've finally got it. Someone gifted it to me, I think, last Steam winter sale, or maybe sometime earlier this year. Resident Evil 7. I lived vicariously through other people, specifically in this case, streamers, with this game because I don't know, I just didn't own it, and when it came out, I was kind of busy with a few other things and said, you know what, I know this game's going to be Resident Evil length, so nothing crazy like trying to watch JRPG through someone else's eyes, which you might as well buy the game at that point. Mm-hmm. But this one, because of the VR experience with it, I wanted to see someone else get spooked instead of me getting the spook. So, kind of laugh at them, enjoy it with them, but also kind of go on the thrill ride as well. Also, Grand Theft Auto 5, there's stunt races that got unlocked with the game. That I own 5, but I just did single player. I didn't do too much in online. But the same guy who streamed Resident Evil 7 for me also did Grand Theft Auto 5 races, and he's a fighter, like commentary sort of guy, so he's got that sort of personality that lends itself to watching multiple hours of. And just those types of games, which maybe I would have played on my own, maybe not, but it was fun to laugh, get spooked, and just live all those moments, I guess, through their eyes and with a chat with you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't think about streaming.
Yeah,
this is good.
Party games, my big two, and I'm hoping the third one's right around the corner for us. Until Dawn, never, ever, ever would have bought that game on my own.
Yeah.
Changed my lifestyle after that game because they somehow mocapped me without my permission, which I still need to file a lawsuit against. But Until Dawn, Night Trap. Night Trap.
I can't believe how much you liked Night Trap.
I don't think maybe anyone out there even understands like how much I love like campy, like 80s stuff, and that is about as campy and about as 80s, 90s as it gets. I love Night Trap so much that I got that stupid limited edition physical version, which I can't wait for it to show up. But there is a soft spot in here for Night Trap, and and I can't wait for the next one, and I also can't wait for Mario Party because that's another just sort of party scenario game. I really like party games. Borrowed. There's usually I pretty much always spent all my money on video games when I barely had any. And now that I've got, I guess, a grown man's job, I still spend a lot of money on video games, but I can recoup now a little bit. One game, and I wish Kellen was here for this because we'd probably go into a 30-minute discussion. Too Human.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Borrowed that from a friend. Still to this day, have not given it back. Sorry. He's not watching. But still haven't given it back. Still probably wouldn't give it back. I would just pay him and say,
I'm not a cop, so I think you're fine. I do want to throw out that You Let Me Borrow Nier
Yeah.
And I think that is always interesting because that ended up being my game of the year. And I talked about how you might value something less if you don't buy it.
Yeah.
Like, you just let me borrow that game, and I ended up loving it, and I went and bought it myself.
You've played it more than I have, so...
That is very, very true. And I'm going to start another playthrough of it
and I've definitely played Too Human way more than that guy ever would have. But, yeah, it was one of those. It was like a 2-player sort of online thing, and sure enough, Kellen and I don't even want to know how many dozens of hours we've logged into that, but that was really cool because I was always the lender of games, because like I said, if I had $10 in my name, I was going to go buy a video game, so most people borrowed from me, and it was nice to be like, I didn't buy that game. What is this? Too Human? I'll give it a try, and then like 100 hours later, it's just like, I love this game. I'm never giving it back. Last kind of like section or category of this, arcades. I grew up big time in arcades. Time Crisis games. I can't imagine how many quarters I've put into Time Crisis machines, and I've always been like, if we're with people, whether it's like really little growing up or even old enough to where you're like driving yourself to the mall type of thing, if I was with people, cool, we'd play Time Crisis. If it was just me, I'd be player one. If you want to step on up, I'll probably clear all the waves and get the A ranks and the high score, and you can just kind of tag along for the fun of it if you want to. Just found my groove with those types of games, really loved them. Turtles in Time. I don't know where Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time lands on my top games of whatever. I know it's up there. Maybe we'll do that list someday. Yeah. Maybe for 150. Maybe not, but... If like I said, I don't know where I would put it, but it's up there for sure. Never owned this game. I've got emulators of it. Never owned it, and
I'm not a cop once again. So
yeah. Oh.
Man, you're confessing to a lot of things.
Would pay for it. Never owned it though, and I always played it in the arcades. And like I said, the mountain of quarters probably would have bought. I probably would have paid off everyone who ever worked on that game. Like they could retire. And also X-Men Arcade, the 6-player one. I loved when they had the 6-player full loadout and not just limit you to 4. It was so nice to just be like, everyone, let's pile in and grab someone, because that game, when there's 6 of you running around, is pure chaos. It's just Colossus going, what, like every 2 seconds, and just explosions and particle effects. I'm not sure how that game ran at the time with all that going on, but yeah. Those are mine.
I liked how you broke up your list. That was pretty good. Arcades, if I were to add one, I'd say that grab claw where you get the stuff. Man, would I love to have one of those. Fun fact, I tried to buy one on multiple occasions, and I asked for one for my birthday one year. I did not get it.
Man, your family hates you.
that must be it. All right, let's move into the releases before we get out of here. Not too much going on this week. We have Insurgency Sandstorm coming to PC September 18th.
Darude Sandstorm?
Yep. That's what it is. We have Undertale coming to the Switch September 18th.
Buy it.
Hard pass. I don't understand. I'm the only person I know that doesn't like that game. I was talking to like a super fan about it, and like I was just like, please spoil it. Explain to me why people like it so much. And they're like, I don't want to spoil it. I'm like, I'm not going to play it. I got like I think I got like 70-something% through it. And I was like, and I don't even remotely know why people like it. Like, what is this? And I still don't understand. And I may never know. Next up, Blind is coming to PSVR PC September 18th. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to assume it is a VR game where you are a blind person.
So, like, the screen's black the whole time?
Yeah, the screen is black, and maybe it's, like, echolocation to figure out what's going on. You know what I mean?
Sure, man.
Maybe you, like...
I don't want to be a bat or a whale or whatever. Use a sonar.
A submarine. And then, just for you, we have the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 expansion, which is Torna, the Golden Country.
Wouldn't even mind if they released it just for me. The cool thing I want to note about the game on top of, hey, this is the intro into 2, which was still like 2nd or 3rd place last year for me. Really good game, blah, 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 blah. But for this one, for Torna, they must have played Persona or something, because they took all the music, which is amazing. Probably should have won Best Soundtrack of last year for me, but the
over Persona?
It's close. The 3
Over
are
near?
like 4 hours worth of music that game has, because the day cycle has a different soundtrack than the night cycle. All that they took all of it and put it into like a jazz ensemble. So that's how this game feels different. You can still feel and hear the
original.
The original from 2. But now it's got more of a jazz theme. It's like, hey, let's just play this on a piano instead of a like full orchestra or whatever. So amazing. I've listened to the soundtrack probably for like 10 hours already. So super cool that they did that. And I think the physical comes with the
classic or the original game. And then
with the original. So that's like many hours worth of goodness on the Switch. So yeah.
I've seen your playtime. It is many hours.
Yes.
But that is it for this episode of the Press X Podcast. Like I said, episode 150, the end of the world. Yeah. That's actually what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the
we
apocalypse.
know things.
So we have seen the future, and that is what's coming. Like I said, we'll still be doing our regular spoiler casts and things. I'm going to be moving streaming over to the YouTube channel instead of Twitch. I think I'm going to enjoy that more. Haven't tried it, so don't want to be too confident. But I feel like I'm going to just enjoy that more.
Yeah, we
in
do
general.
more fun stuff, basically. So
yeah,
it opens the door
more like I said, more opinion and creative stuff I think is always good.
We can get out of this damn room.
But thank you for being here, Nick.
I'm dying.
And thank you so much for watching. We will speak with you next time.